Welcome to Hammer's Chat, and it's time for a brand new series. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That's my new series alarm, by the way. I don't know how to edit in flashing lights and noises, so I've had to do it manually. Anyway, what we're going to be doing is taking a look and seeing what you guys have been saying on this channel over the last few days, because I think the comment section is really good on videos, and it's untapped opinions. So we're going to be taking your opinions, popping up on the screen, having a little discussion along the way. But before we get into it, I just want to say thank you to everybody that's subscribed. Before I record these videos, I have to change the subscription number manually myself, and I had to jump it up by about 80 today. So thank you to all the new people that are here on the channel. Some of you might appear in this video, and we're going to kick it off with Video History, who says, I'm convinced Lopetegui took Kudus off to get a reaction. Let him know it's team first. The egos get left at the door is the only way to be a successful team and win big games. I think what's interesting with this is, and I appreciate a lot of people don't like the way it's blowing up, and I get it. I am one of those people who have contributed to it, but within the video saying I think it's a mountain out of a molehill. But the Athletic are running with it today. I've noticed that they've done an article basically just reiterating what everybody said so far. But I think when the Athletic do it, compared to fan channels, etc., because it's such a big and well-respected outlet, Kadus will know now. I would be surprised if Kudus doesn't know that this has become a bit of a story. And I'd be very surprised if Lopetegui doesn't get asked about it in his press conference ahead of the Ipswich game, because obviously Roshane, who has written this article for the Athletic, attends these press conferences, so he may ask about it as well. So I don't think it's quite run its course. I understand why a lot of people are fed up with it, but I think there's still a couple of bumps on the road. And it'll be interesting to see what happens at the weekend. AMG goes on to say that Souček, when he helped the ball boy under the advertising board at Crystal Palace, that was the moment he truly realised he's a top man, and we should be happy we have someone giving 100%, not falling over and throwing arms up and sulking like a certain player. Now, I don't want to jump to conclusions on these videos because these are other people's opinions, but I think he might be talking about Lucas Paqueta. John Murdoch says, I believe the problem stems from the lack of quality at left back. I do like Emerson, but he has too many off days. With a really good left back, Kudus, Bowen and Somerville could handle it easier being out there on the left wing position. I actually agree with that completely, to be honest with you. I think Emerson's been pretty poor so far this season. But in terms of just being a defender as such, I don't think he's great, and I don't think he's ever been great. I had a fear, a worry, a suspicion that when we signed Adam Wan-Bissaka, because he's known for being such a good one-on-one defender, that teams may start targeting our left side just to stay away from Adam Wan-Bissaka. And I think that's sort of coming true to some extent, because last season it felt like teams were going at Soufal, especially if there's a fast winger over there. Soufal would give 100%, he's strong in the tackle, reads the game really well, never switches off, which is something I think Wan-Bissaka does. The only thing Soufal was lacking was pace, but he was getting done for it quite a lot last season. It feels like now we've fixed that, they're coming down the other side. And last season, Emerson wasn't really getting got at by opposition teams due to the fact that we had a weakness on the other side of the pitch. So I think it's a bit of a fear that's come true a little bit to some extent. But I agree with what John's saying there, that Emerson doesn't allow the left winger freedom, if you like. Now, what I should say in regards to these comments, they're from various different videos across the last few days. Also, we've had fan cams across both channels as well, which is something we're going to keep on doing. So after the Ipswich game, you want to send us your thoughts in, please do. But some of these comments are replying to videos I never even did myself. But I like them. I've tried to be balanced with the comments. I will be honest. I've picked them out with the purpose of getting a few positive Lopetegui ones, a few positive Lopetegui/Kadus ones, as well as a couple of negative ones on each side, because I'm trying. When I do give my opinion, it's my opinion, whether it's positive or negative, it doesn't matter, it's an honest one. But when I'm picking comments out, I'm aware that I could maybe go a little bit OTT or one way or another. I'm trying my best not to be. Slimface says his concern is that we look awful in every aspect. No signs of anything really positive. Motivational players will eventually go and we will lose our best players at the end of the season. Michael says it's harder to keep both Kadus and Bowen happy because we're not playing European football. I think we've got to try Kudus and Trent on midfield because he's the only one who can carry the ball. a nice complement to Paqueta and Soler, who can advance the ball with fantastic passing. I think the European thing's a really good point because there's advantages and disadvantages, and us as fans have different ones compared to the club. So I miss European football, by the way. It's on at the minute. The Champions League's on later tonight, and I miss not being in the Europa League and the Conference League, but especially the Europa League. It just felt like it was a little bit more integrity. The Conference League was a bit too easy to some extent. It was. I know it's hard again. I'm not even talking about the fact I mean, like the group stage. It was almost like we had a game on a Thursday. It was like, oh, we're gonna win. There wasn't much. There was a lack of excitement to it because the game felt quite one-sided. Whereas the Europa League, it was quite crunchy, so it was hard to call. So it was easier to get you. But the European football, there is advantages for Lopetegui, more time on the training pitch. Disadvantage, less time to give to players like Fabianski. How do you keep Fabianski happy at the minute? At least last season, he had the group stages of European football, the knockout stages of European football. We're out the Carabao Cup already, so the cup games have all but disappeared. There's a possibility, barring an injury to Areola, Fabianski won't play again until the FA Cup comes round in January. Will says if Thomas Souček isn't playing as a number 10, what exactly is he playing as? And he goes on to say Kudus has every right to be angry. Now, this was a video that I was in. This was my video with Frankie yesterday. We were discussing Thomas Souček, and I said that I don't think Souček played as a number 10 against Brentford. He has in some games, but against Brentford, I don't think he did. So Will's asking, what do I think? I think he's just playing as a central midfielder. I feel like we played in the first half. The second half, different formation. But in the first half, I feel like it was a 4-3-3. But what I will say, in the second half, while I feel like we changed, Souček remained as a central midfielder, in my opinion. Now, I've gone a little bit geeky here, but I've brought something to back me up. Naturally. So it's a bit biased. I'm trying to back up my own point here. But this is the average position of every player that was involved against Brentford. So obviously, Tom Souček is number 28. So he's right there in the centre circle. You could suggest that the distance between Souček and Antonio would maybe suggest that he was playing as number 10. I still don't see it. I think he was playing as a central midfielder. Now, what I will say, this is across 90 minutes, so Bowen's position is fair, Antonio's is fair, the centre-backs, Kilman's 26 and Tadib's 25, that's fair. Rodriguez, 24, just behind Souček, that's fair. Wan-Bissaka's in central circle because he obviously played on the right in the first half, in the left in the second half, so across the both halves, he's in the middle somewhere. And Paqueta's there because in the second half, he went out on the left, didn't he? When Soler came on, he went out over on that left-hand side a little bit more, especially out of possession. Paqueta was drifting out there to, protect Wan-Bissaka. So that's why his position maybe a little bit left-sided than what it was. But what you can see there is Mohamed Kadus' average position. Furthest one up the pitch, bar Danny Ings, who obviously came on. And I think that's a fair representation. But that's my Souček argument. I still think that's true because when I say 4-3-3, I accept that Rodriguez is the deeper of the midfielders. I think that. But I do feel like Paqueta and Souček are not playing as number 10s. I feel like it's a 4-3-3 personally. William says he thinks Mavropanos looks better at full-back than centre-back. Artel said it's totally unrealistic. Arteta this is in response to a fan cam. Arteta had a dreadful 18 months. He's been in place for almost 5 years. If a small business were to lay off half its operational staff and recruit replacements, including a new executive and a department manager, then expect outstanding performance whilst on-job coaching takes place, within a month, it would be met with ridicule. Football isn't different. People take time to transition to new ways. West Ham will be lucky to finish in the top 10. I'd welcome it. At best, West Ham may finish between 9th and 11th. Any better would be fantastic. It's a helter-skelter ride until the squad norms in the J-Lo style. Harry said, agree with a lot of points here in regards to a fan cam. He's fairly relaxed as it goes. I'm looking at a great set of fixtures up until Christmas, and before then, we'll be right back up there. Tadib's class. Putting Kadus in the middle could be it. I like Somerville, but maybe try Paqueta down the left. He was great there for a short-term time last season. Alan says, this season I'll give him, in terms of Lopetegui, he's going to give him the entire season. we're in transition of making a new team gel. Frank says if we don't win against Ipswich and we see Kudus on the left, it will signal that Lopetegui is clueless for him and it's time for him to go. Kudus' sub was tactical according to him, so we'll see if he's lying against Ipswich Town. Malcolm says the defence is performing now. The midfield, some of them are. Those of the attacking brigade are all suffering under Lopetegui. If the rumours coming out of the club regarding spats on the training pitch have the slightest truth, there's possibly worrying times ahead. Emerson says, I don't think we are impatient. I think it comes down to expectation. If you want us to get European football this season, then sure, we're going to struggle. Still not impossible. For him, I never expected us to hit the ground running. I hoped, but that's another matter. I think I agree with every word of that, actually. And I think maybe that's why I'm pretty chilled out, because my expectation, my pre-season prediction was 11th, and it was a little bit pie in the sky stuff, because there's a lack of evidence to go on. I ain't basing, well, you do base it off of pre-season, but I didn't find pre-season that encouraging. It was a little bit encouraging, but it wasn't like we were playing scintillating football or anything like that. But also you added in the fact new signings, players like Bowen and Paqueta were arriving late to pre-season because of their international tournaments. So I said 11th pre-season, I'm remaining with 11th. And I guess what Fem was saying is we're still on course for 11th. Maybe that is why I'm really chilled out compared to some people. I don't know. But I agree what he just said there. Brad said, I've been thinking, and my solution, whilst far from perfect, would be to play Bowen up top, Kadus on the right, Somerville on the left. And then my sub late in the game would be Kadus or Somerville to go off, Antonio to come on and pop Bowen back onto the right-hand side. I think that's how we will get the very most out of the attack. I think that's what a lot of people are wanting to see at the minute, Brad. Bale said the inclusion of Somerville is the problem that Lopetegui has, because he doesn't have a suitable left back that works with Somerville, and this goes back to what John just spoke about in regards to Emerson. Creswell was the original choice, but he was found out quickly. Emerson is too attacking minded to linking up with Paqueta, so he does get forward really well, is what he's saying there, I think. Sufal has now been found out because Bowen's constant covering instead of attacking. Now the dynamic of Wan-Bissaka with Somerville, Mad-Panis with Bowen looks a better balance. Once Fulkrug is fit, Kudus behind him, interchanging with both Somerville and Bowen will confuse opposition defenders, giving more room for Fulkrug to do his thing. Now, with the back four of Mavropanos, Todibo, Kilman and Wan-Bissaka looking solid, the attacking four is mentioned. It just needs the conundrum of the best pairing for the defensive midfield. And I believe that will be Lopetegui's preferred 11 within a 4-2-3-1. I liked that comment by Bill. I liked it. Danny says, I've said this all along, it doesn't matter who plays up front for West Ham, they will struggle to score. So Mark did a fan cam and he made a bit of a joke at the end. He basically said, even Duran wouldn't score in a West Ham shirt. But what he meant was, we're not creating very much up top, and Danny's agreeing with him. We have wingers that 90% of the time will cut inside and look to shoot and score. So what is that good as that to our strikers? And Paqueta turns up 1 in 5 games. Emerson only attacks good when Paqueta plays well. We're not creating anything right now. We need to stop conceding stupid early goals and build from the back. Come on, you Irons. At least he finished it positively. An inspiring come on, you Irons there at the end from Danny. Next up, we got HV who says, I have a theory. If Lopetegui's doing this, he's playing around with the lineup at different times, putting people in the uncomfortable and awkward positions, maybe with an intention to see if they grow. Lopetegui did say when he was hired, everyone will have to be patient. It will only get worse. We will all have to suffer in order to grow. Was he meaning be prepared for a little bit of an experimental phase to see what happens with the presence or absence of certain materials, so to speak? So if there is any method at all. So that's his wild theory from HV, and he goes on to say, is it possible this could be going on? Chaos to find order. I can't, whilst I don't necessarily agree, I also can't disagree. I think, is it possible? Well, the answer is yes. It's a bit like when someone's having a baby, are you having a boy or girl? Yes. It will be one of those two. So I don't necessarily disagree with what he said there. I think in terms of experimenting, here's my answer, actually thinking about it out loud. I think it's not black or white. I think for each player, maybe I have a different opinion. So is he experimenting with Wan-Bissaka? Yes, I think he is. Right back, right wing back, tucking into midfield. I'm not even talking about popping over to the left back. That's just for cover. But in regards to his role as a right back at West Ham, I think he's experimenting with that. Edson Alvarez experimenting, dropping him into a back three, leaving him in central midfield, defensive midfield. I think he's experimenting there. Souček, not so much. I think it's a get out of jail card option that Lopetegui sees Thomas Souček as. In regards to, say, Bowen, no, I don't think he is experimenting. Kudus, I actually don't think he's experimenting with Kudus. Now, this comment came off the back of the Kudus stuff. I don't think he's experimenting with Kudus. I think he prefers Bowen to Kudus on the right-hand side. And I think he really likes Antonio as a striker. And that's it. It's sort of like, well, that's the position left for you. You're out on that left-hand side. So I think he's maybe experimenting with a lot of things. But in terms of Kudus, I'm not sure he is. But I think your theory is applicable to certain other players for sure. Spin said, Lopetegui did the right thing in regards to Kudus. Kudus didn't do anything for the team in the first half. He had a chance in the first half when somebody played him through, and you can see Bowen, Antonio and Souček running on the opposite side, and he's going straight for the shot from a difficult angle. That was when Souček played him through/down. Kudus has 39 goals and 8 assists. Speaks the volume type of player he is. He needs to understand he's not bulletproof. We need a team not relying on individual brilliance of players. Even Antonio jokes about how Kudus never assists him. Also, doesn't go in Kudus' favour that as soon as Lopetegui got the job, he said he won't change the way he plays. The guy's not messy, and he needed to be humbled. Vicky says, managed to watch the whole game against Brentford, and we could have crumbled after an early goal. A massive positive is that we recovered and competed. Lopetegui showed some balls in subbing a talented player for the shape of the side. That's an astute tactician. Brentford really worked us today. Most games now are so competitive. This league has got tougher. And we're going to finish it off from Adam, who says, I understand Lopetegui's frustration. He wants some connection in forward areas. There's not much link up between the front players. They all just want to run with the ball and rush for a shot or do a rubbish cutback/cross. We have a very talented forward players, but they're not the most creative. They're too direct. There's almost zero passing and moving and intelligent interplay. Besides the hate Füllkrug is getting, which he can't even believe it's a thing, we need him back. He is an intelligent player. We're going to have to wait a little bit longer for Füllkrug, but I'm inclined to agree in regards to the Füllkrug thing. I think his build-up play, his hold-up play is fantastic. I also agree with what he's saying in terms of the players and chance creation. And this was why, when I do my match previews with Gonzo, I'm going to be doing one tomorrow for the Ipswich game. And it's only a little bit of fun. What team do you want to see? It's a bit of fun. It's nothing too serious. And I like reading other people's as well. But when I do it, in my head, I'm torn. Because I'm like, I don't think Paqueta deserves to start. He's not in good form. Hasn't been in good form for quite some time now. Even going back to last season. And there's reasons for him not being in form because of what's happening off the field. It's understandable that it would take its toll on him. So there's that side of it. There's this bit of me that says, nah, you can't play Paqueta. He doesn't deserve to play. But there's this other bit of me that says, but who else? Who else can do what Paqueta can do? Now, Paqueta ain't doing it, but I know he can. But the alternatives to Paqueta, I've yet to see they're capable. I've not seen Kadus do Kadus is a top player. I want him to start against Ipswich. I'm a big fan of him pre-West Ham. The proof is on the channel. Go back to before we signed him. But he ain't creative. He's fantastic at plenty things as Kadus. But in terms of creativity, he isn't that good at it. Paqueta is just different to the rest of them. And this is why I struggle to almost want Paqueta dropped. Does he deserve to be? Yes. But we need somebody else that's got that X factor that can open up a defence. Kadus can do it by dribbling and running. Bowen can do it by his dribbling as well. In terms of being clinical, I think Jared Bowen's one of our best players at it. Antonio can bully defences. But Picard's just got something the rest of them don't have. Carlos Soler might. When I first saw him, I was like, oh, I'm not sure about this. But I thought he looked okay, actually. When he came on against Brentford, I thought he was neat and tidy against Liverpool. But I thought he was a little bit better against Brentford. Is he the man that can then do those things? I don't know. Some people say he is, and some people say he isn't. I don't know. But I agree with what a lot of the comments have said today, which is we're just lacking in chance creation at the minute going forward. And when I look at the stats in terms of comparing us to other teams in the Premier League, we're quite low. Well, I say quite low. We're at the bottom for chance creation, and we're at the bottom for quality of chance creation. So we're having enough shots. It's just the ones that we're having, it's unlikely to go in. That needs improved. And if we can do that, because one thing I felt last season, I had an issue with how much we were conceding, but I always felt confident we would score. This season, defensively, we're still, a lot of work needs done, but I do think we're improving a little bit. But offensively, I'm no longer confident we're going to score. Whereas last season, I was thinking we could score 2, but the problem is we'll concede 3. But this season, I'm confident we're going to concede 1, but I'm no longer confident we're going to score 2 as well. We've got the players, we've got all the bits of the jigsaw, just putting it together and making it work. And that's the challenge for Lopetegui this weekend, because it's an important game for him. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you to the 20 comments I had there. They didn't even know they were going to appear on the video. None of them were too offended that the comments popped up. But I liked them. I trawled through the last 3 days of comments and picked out what I think was a fair balance. And I'll be doing this video in future. So please do get involved. If you've enjoyed it, let me know by clicking thumbs up. Also in the comments of this video, and that'd be much appreciated. But I will catch up with you tomorrow with the match preview with Gonzo for the Ipswich game. I'm looking forward to this game on Saturday, actually. An important game, but I'm looking forward to it. Catch you then.